Good morning, everybody. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. This is my friend, Reverend John Lardas, who is the priest. Is there a formal title beyond priest?
A presiding priest.
Presiding priest at the Archangel Michael
Greek Orthodox Church in Fort Washington.
I'm so glad you got that right. Okay, good.
I hope so.
Welcome, everyone. We'll share some Torah in a moment, but let me first welcome all of you. We've been coming to you live every weekday morning for 5.5 years. It is broadcast 1,408, which is pretty remarkable. Behind us, photobombing us by accident, is Rabbi Mickey Stanger. He's waving hi. And that's Matt Gerber from JCRC, who's helping lead this trip. It's good to see you, Lisa, Barbara, Linda. Welcome, friends. We're actually on an incredible pilgrimage journey that I hope that we'll talk about in a moment. But welcome, everyone. We have a few minutes. Let's start with a blessing for learning. I'll sing, and then we'll talk a little Torah, okay? I'll call it Torah. You'll call it Bible wisdom. You'll call it sacred, and I'll call you friend. So here's the blessing, and he's going to sing the whole thing. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai. That's my wife. Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. La'asok b'divrei Torah. Hafoch ba v'hafoch ba. La'asok b'divrei Torah. Didei lai 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 lai. Didei lai lai lai. Didei lai 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 lai. Ay la lai lai. All right, friends, it's good to see all of you here. Please join me in welcoming Father John Lardas, who is with this UJA JCRC interfaith mission with clergy leaders from Long Island. We are going through Israel, learning a lot about each other, the current moment and where we are, including today, having had a tremendous experience at Capernaum, where Father Lardas led us in learning about the history of the place and the architecture of some beautiful, beautiful church that's there. But what I hope that we'll talk about, besides just saying hi, is this week's Torah portion. We read the story of Noah, and it's been on my mind a lot how fragile the world around us is in countless ways, not only in this corner of the world, but sometimes especially in this corner of the world, and how the story of Noah is a story of consequences for human action. That when God, in the creation story just last week, divides between the upper waters and the lower waters, in this week's Parsha, in this week's Torah portion, in response to human cruelty, God undoes the work of creation, pulling out the stoppers and the floodgates of the heavens above and the waters below. And it's not really the rain of 40 days that we're taught to sing about as children. It's more about a collapsing of creation. And that really makes me think about the work that we're called to do as clergy, but also as human beings, to continue a process of creation. And I was hopeful that you might reflect on that for us for a moment.
Thank you, Rabbi Creditor. Your friendship has been truly a blessing over the past few years since we had the opportunity to meet in this incredible interfaith excursion pilgrimage journey. Has just really been able to open up our hearts to that healing that I think is reflected also in the story of Noah's Ark. And it's just interesting that you bring this up, because we, in one of the traditions of the Greek Orthodox faith, is iconography. We just installed the scene of Noah's Ark on the wall of our church. So it's something that I point to a lot. And hopefully in our dialogue too, we'll see more of those things. I can definitely refer to some certain things, how we see it as a tradition that begins in the scriptures and continues even into the Christian story.
Sure. I'm curious if you just installed the iconography of that, which I have to tell you, from my perspective, going to the church that we were just in, it was striking to me, all the physical imagery of saints and of Jesus and of the stories from the Bible, because in a synagogue setting you won't see all of that physical representation. I find it awesome. A little bit strange for me, but incredibly inspiring. And it makes me wonder, like, who chooses which image, because the story is a very involved one. So what is the image, if you can share, of Noah's Ark that you just installed? Like, what does it depict, really?
So it has, as a story, it has the animals coming up onto the ark. It kind of captures the whole story in one picture. It has the dove carrying the olive branch. It has the rainbow that is part of the story. So it kind of brings us before the flood, through the flood, and after the flood.
Huh.
And one thing that in the Christian rite of passage of baptism, there's a huge reference to the story of Noah's Ark. And as we see baptism as a healing of through water, just like this in the story of Noah's Ark, the recreation that takes place from the floods. So there's it just goes to show you how interconnected we are in our traditions and our faiths.
Right, it's true. Does that mean that in the ritual of baptism there is the sort of the fear element also? Because the Noah story, obviously, there is a rebirth, but the rebirth is required because so much is lost.
So it's definitely about the rebirth. That's kind of the main theme of what takes place in that and in that story, and so it's a lot of people coming from, especially from the Jewish background, when they hear these prayers, they go, "Hey, that's part of us too." You know?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that. So the first time, I think it was the first time that we met, or maybe it was the second, we were in your church, and I was just marveling at all the things we were saying. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? So right outside of the sanctuary there's a table that has sand in it, and I'm looking, and it looks like the sand is designed in very sacred ways, and as an outsider, I'm asking about everything. So I asked Father Lardas, tell me about this. He says, well, actually, that's where we put the candles so nothing burns down. And it was so fun. It was such a great moment of, yes, when I go to synagogue and someone thinks everything is meaningful, no, that's just where I put my hat. Like, that's not.
And so today at the Church of the Apostles, that's where we were at in Capernaum. They not only have sand, but then they have about an inch of water in there. and I was looking for you, but I couldn't find you.
And it's the flood. It's about the flood. Of course it is. All right. Well, friends, there's so much more. First of all, you can see we're going to have a lot of fun. I hope we'll do more of this over time. And it's a blessing. Thank you, especially to those who are leaders and supporters of the work that JCRC and UJA do. This is one of the best parts of our work, which is building friendship, learning about each other, and sharing sacred experiences. So we're about to disembark our bus, but if there's a closing message you'd like to share.
Thank you, Rabbi Creditor, for this opportunity to share in this with your followers. And may the Lord's blessings be with all of us and our families, to have health, peace, faith, and love abide in our homes and in our families.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, my friend. All right, we're going to close with a tikva the way that I have, but I'm just going to thank Father Lardas one more time. Thank you for this. Really, you too. All right, friends, sing with me. Send your hearts. Kol od balevav pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia od lo avda tikvateinu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. Am Yisrael Chai. See you soon, my friends. Bye.